Who I am, and you know my show by now, and if you don't, it's Vegas Live with Ninon, and I'm Ninon. And next to me, I have an incredible guy. His name is Romeo Johnson. Now, as you all know, I do not pre-interview any of my guests because I don't like to. I like to have it spontaneous. So out of this little ear over here, I just heard something about The Voice, that he was training for The Voice, that he helps people on The Voice. I'm thinking, who is this guy? Am I going to get nervous? No, I'm not going to get nervous because I don't get nervous, Romeo.
Don't get nervous.
I don't get nervous. They're just another person on my show.
That's right.
Actually now it's very important because how are you, Romeo?
I'm wonderful.
Doesn't he look wonderful? Look, he's just so happy.
Of course.
I love it.
Why not be?
Well, yeah, you're on my show.
I'm on your show. Why would I not be happy?
There you go, there you go. Now, what's all this about The Voice? What do you do for The Voice?
Well, amongst many things, I was the voice coach on The Voice. I kind of helped from the very beginnings when they decided to bring The Voice to America. It originated in Norway.
Oh, right, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so it's a Norwegian thing. Well, they have a different language anyway.
Exactly.
So it's totally different.
Right. So they were making such a big fuss in Norway. Mark Burnett decided to bring it to America. Right. And I worked with Mark Burnett on an MTV show as a vocal coach and vocal director. So when they decided to bring The Voice to America, they contacted me and asked me if I would be the vocal expert. And then that became the title of the vocal coach for all the contestants on the show.
Now, so when you have a contestant coming on and you have to give them vocal, can't these people speak?
Can they speak? Sometimes.
Sometimes. So you have to help them what to say. Like they throw a question out.
The way that it goes, the process was basically we would travel around the United States and have auditions for singers. Pretty much like American Idol.
Yeah.
Right. And then we would select singers that were well enough to advance. It was like 5 stages of advancing before you even get to the television stage.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So it's like 5 auditions getting it.
Pretty much, yeah. Because we would go to certain cities sometimes. There'd be thousands of people out there ready to audition.
Well, yeah, I've seen them. Lines and lines and lines. How do they get through all those lines and how do they see everybody?
We would start sometimes 6:30, 7 a.m. and finish at 9 o'clock at night. And that would be probably 10 rooms of different producers.
And they all go into different rooms, so it's not just one person interviewing them.
Exactly.
Lots of people.
For the first stage.
And is it pretty easy to interview somebody you know right away whether they're going to be something or not, or do you want to give all of them a chance?
Well, we give them all a chance as far as them being there.
Yes.
But I've been singing almost all of my life, and that's why I had a position as the vocal expert for the show and the casting.
Yes.
So yeah, it would take me approximately 5 seconds, 10
I was
seconds.
going to say, in 5 seconds, you really do know.
Exactly.
Isn't that awful when you think about it? And I always say this when you walk in for an audition, that director or producer, whoever that is sitting there, he knows within seconds.
In seconds.
That I'm going to continue or not continue.
So true.
Isn't that? I mean,
So
it's
true.
awful, but at the same time, you know. So, now the problem is, how does the person they're walking in to try to do the interview, how do they know that they're not that good, or how do they upgrade where they're from to make themselves better?
Right. Well, our job is to determine whether they're good enough to even participate on the show.
Yeah.
My problem going in as a vocal coach, I wanted to help everybody that walked through. So sometimes people would come in and they weren't, sometimes of course they obviously just weren't singing material.
Yeah.
And then you just have to tell them, sorry, not for you.
No.
There were other times that there were people who had nice voices, but their techniques just weren't up to par. And that's where I would get in trouble all the time because the producers were like, you can't coach everybody wrong. You got to move them out of here. So I was like,
they're great and I love them.
Exactly.
I say, yeah, but what are you going to do with them?
Exactly. So we would pick the best from each city and fly them out to Los Angeles, and they compete until they narrow down to about 65 people that ended up actually going on the television show.
Going on the television show. Yeah. And how long does that process take?
About 5 weeks from what I remember, because I did the first 4 seasons, and they may have changed it by now. But it would take about 3 to 5 weeks.
So it's a lot of hard work, a lot of thought goes into it, because you're talking to a human being that thinks they've got talent.
Right.
Whether I think they have, and whether whether they do or they don't, they think they have talent. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there.
Now, here's the thing: is figuring out where you fit in the grand scheme of things. Because a lot of times you may be amazing in your neighborhood, in
Yeah,
your
the
family,
top. Woo-hoo.
but when you start to compete with other singers around the world, you realize I'm not that good.
You know, that's so fun because that's in business too, because you have this great idea, and then all of a sudden you put it out there and you see all these millions of other people have got the same idea as you.
Very humbling.
Yeah, this happens all the time. But we think we've got our own idea, but we haven't.
Yeah.
Now, Romeo, you do other things too. You've sort of, give me a little bit of your life or what.
Well, I was born and raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and came up in a musical family. My mother sang, so I listened to her. Yeah. And I tried sports for a brief minute, you know, and I was pretty good at that. But
sounds like a brief second to me.
Brief. By high school, I was like, maybe I should just go to music.
Yeah. What I was born into.
Exactly, what was given
Why
to me.
fake it?
Yeah, sometimes you got to discover, right?
Yeah.
So once I decided music is my thing, I just full-heartedly committed myself to it. I knew at an early age I'm going to have to relocate to Los Angeles.
Yes.
Because just from reading credits, you know, back then we used to read credits on albums. And kids don't know what albums
anymore.
are today, but right. But I moved to LA and I pursued it, and the career was just amazing. I went from singing. I also play bass guitar, so I did a couple of tours with people like Sheena Easton, Jody Watley, James Ingram, people like that starting out.
Yeah.
And it just, I went from one gig to another
gig.
Yeah, and then I got hired with Janet Jackson, and that took everything to another level.
That took it all to and how do you think, I think it's your personality personally, and because I don't know your talent, but your personality is really great.
Thank you so much.
Janet Jackson can choose from anybody, anything. She can have anybody. Why did she choose you, do you think?
I think the majority of it was because I was prepared. I knew.
You knew what you were doing.
I researched exactly what that job entails. And I knew, okay, I definitely wanted to be in shape. I wanted to look good. I wanted, to make sure she saw my personality, everything that you said. But I was hired to be a backup singer. So I knew the main thing I wanted to do was let her know, you can be confident that every night when you step on stage, I'm going to have my part. I'm
going to do what you want me. I'm going to do exactly what you want me to do,
exactly.
And not what I want to do,
exactly.
But what you want to do. Because most singers, a lot of people, they get these jobs, get these things, and they suddenly turn it into, well, I'm now going to do what I want,
absolutely.
And forgetting the person they're working for.
Exactly, you were hired for a reason.
You were hired because you can do what they want you to do.
That's right.
And you followed that whole line.
That's right. Learn from the experience, and if you want to do your own thing, you do that later when it's your situation.
So that's a good lesson for anybody out there. Whoever's watching, I hope there's a few people watching. I'm sure there are.
I'm sure.
Especially watching Romeo.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. And so they really want to concentrate on to how they can please that other person until they can get into their own niche and then have that, because you now have a great resume of working with this woman and sort of doing what. How long were you with her?
About almost 3 years.
Really, that's a long time.
It's a long time for a tour. Tours don't usually last that long. Janet was right at the peak of her. That was during the Janet album. That was one of her most popular albums, and we worked a lot. But to go back to what you were saying, I also teach people about being successful and having longevity in this business. That's my thing. My thing is to now. I'm a voice coach, and I teach people a lot about the career, how to build a career in this business. And very much what you just said, when you understand. Yeah.
Is the business side just as important as the talent?
I honestly believe it's more so.
Yeah, because I've heard about, I'm not going to knock managers or agents or any of that. I don't knock people. I just don't. They all do their job. And if you're going to allow them to cheat and do whatever they do with you, that's your problem, not their problem, right?
That's right.
I think, because if you can't pay attention to what you've got and what you're going to do, why are you there?
That's right.
Is that right?
That's right, I agree.
Well, he's easy, isn't he? I could work for him anytime. I'm talking on my side, absolutely.
Hey, I agree with you.
Yeah, because it's not only, you can have a beautiful voice, you can dress beautifully, you can look absolutely fantastic out there, and then you lose all your money.
Absolutely. Yeah, you definitely need to know the business, because let's just be honest, there's millions of talented people.
Tell me.
There's millions of talented people. Why aren't they all successful? It's the business aspect. It's the knowledge.
I think it's the business aspect, the knowledge, but also if you're going to do it, and this is anything you do,
Right.
go into it 100%.
100%. Absolutely.
Don't flip-flop around it. Like you were with Janet Jackson. 3 years with Janet Jackson. How did and why did he get that job? And how did you keep it for 3 years? Do you know why? He did what she wanted. Because it was her gig, it was her thing.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, you're on the stage with Janet Jackson.
Yeah, it was great. And it led to many other, I ended up touring with Michael Jackson
Of course
as
it
well.
did. What was it like? Oh, Michael Jackson. What was it like with him?
It was incredible. Unbelievable. It was the spiritual side of me kicked in more than the musician side. Because, and the reason I say this, not necessarily like it was such a spiritual atmosphere, but it's my belief system. You know, I always grew up believing that God wanted more from me than I ever wanted for myself. So I had goals that I'd set.
He put you in places that you could actually do that. So you were given the opportunity of your own creation. This is what he created. Romeo created this. Right. So you created this position that you knew that you can grow from this and do this and do this.
Absolutely.
But you were mostly prepared for everything you went into.
That's it. I wanted to figure out, and as I teach my students, figure out what the job entails and be prepared. Talent is talent. When I auditioned for Sheena Easton as a bass guitarist, it was bass guitarists that were much better than me overall. But I knew her music better than they did. So she liked me because she's like, that's what I want. It's amazing that you got to play.
You did the homework.
The homework.
So that's one big thing. If you're going to an audition, understand that audition. Not the one you just did or the next one you're going to.
So
the
true.
one you're going into.
So true.
And it could be, all three of them, or 10 of them, whatever, could all be totally different.
Right. It's facts.
I mean, I know what auditions are. I've been to many of them and I've been turned down many times, but then I've also been, she's the one.
The perfect one.
And that's probably because the haircut was okay, and this was okay, and that was okay, and the drawing that was made was okay.
Right.
And I fit the part.
But you did the job.
Yes, I did. I've always done that. I always think the job. In fact, I've always liked to overdo the job.
Absolutely.
You know,
Me too.
to be there and be prepared. So, who else have you?
Oh my gosh. A lot of people. So I toured with Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Jody Watley, Sheena Easton, Adam Ant.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. But I have recorded with, my God, Stevie Wonder, James Ingram, Jennifer Holliday. It goes on. I've been doing it a long time.
On and on.
Yeah, and then I've coached celebrity artists as well. Like I coached Avril Lavigne, Debarge. It could go on and on and on.
To coach somebody to go on a stage and do what they do, is that very hard, or is it depending on the person whom you're coaching?
It depends on who you're coaching, how hard it is. But for me, I feel like I'm anointed to do that more so than even singing.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I'm anointed to teach more.
It's easier for you. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's easier for you.
It's more natural.
Yeah, I was going to say, but is that because you get into the person?
It is. I get into every individual, and I tell people that. I tell my clients, when you come to me, you're not going to get a cookie cutter approach.
No.
My initial meeting with my client is to figure out who you are as a person. What's your personality? What's the best way I can communicate with you?
And where you're going and what you're doing.
Right.
And how do you want to do this?
And then I can cater my teachings to you.
Which you are very experienced at.
Very, and I'm very blessed. And that was, I think, the success that came behind teaching thousands of people for The Voice. It was different genres, it was different age groups.
Well, everybody's different. We're all so different. We might all think, do you know, every single finger tip or whatever you want to call it, print is different.
Absolutely.
In the entire world. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And also, I want to mention to everybody out there, we all wonder.
No
we all
one's
wonder
the same.
about Jesus. We all wonder about God and everything else. Every single person in the entire world has God in them.
Absolutely.
That's where He is.
Absolutely.
So don't think, He doesn't pay attention to me, because He does.
Absolutely. Amen.
And you've mentioned this many times in your faith, and this is why I'm bringing this up, because you're talking about it.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm not going to say you're probably going to church all the time and you're praying all the time, but your thoughts are there all the time, aren't they?
All day, every day.
See?
I do pray all day.
I know that. I don't even know this guy.
Absolutely.
But I know where you're feeling, and everyone says, well, I didn't know that was wrong. We all know, unfortunately, right from wrong within ourselves.
Absolutely.
We all know,
Whether we admit it or
we
not.
cut somebody off. What was their fault? Well, we know Jolly well, it wasn't their fault. It wasn't our fault. We're going to blame someone.
Exactly.
And the only person you can ever blame for anything in your life, would you agree, it would be yourself?
Yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give, especially the younger generation, because I love them. I've got all the younger generation, I've got their backs. I love them.
Me too.
I absolutely, whatever you are doing and whatever you are, wherever you are, I don't care what country you're from, I love you all. What advice would you like to give them as coming into a very different, strange world?
You know, I do this every day with young artists, and the one thing that I emphasize is the thing that's different now versus before, we took pride in learning.
Yes, we did.
We took pride in learning, and we took pride in crediting who we learned from. You know, every time we would get a compliment, we would go, "Thanks, man. Such and such taught me that. You know, I learned that from this person." We were so proud.
We'd always do that. We'd always do. Yes.
Yeah, we were so proud of who we learned from.
Yes.
You know, and today, for some reason, I guess with the quick celebrity and the quick popularity of social media,
internet, social media.
Yeah, it's like they think, I see this, you know, this person who has put years and years into building their fame.
Yeah.
I can dress like them, talk like them, and then I can just be them. But I don't want to talk about anyone who ever helped me. I want to make it look like I did this on my own.
This whole thing myself. Well, let me tell you something out there. If you put that message out there, you're going to get nowhere.
That's so true.
Because, you know, I've got a famous saying. I have a card, like everybody. On the back of the card said, "Nothing happens without you."
I like it.
Nothing happens. You can't sit in this chair unless somebody made it. So that means it's somebody completely away from what you do.
That's right.
Anything that happens, I can't do this show unless I have Maria. And I have everybody. I can't do it.
Right.
You can do nothing alone out there.
So true.
Absolutely nothing.
So true.
One more question, because I know they're getting anxious for me. What is the greatest achievement or the greatest thing you think of out there that you've done and you kind of think, this really made me happy and felt good? Probably many, but...
Well, I'll give you two. The greatest achievement, aside from music, is raising my son.
Isn't that beautiful? Back to the family.
Yeah, I'm a single dad. I raised my sons, and they're amazing young men.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm most proud of.
Is he a singer?
They both have beautiful voices, have no interest in being musicians, but they've been around it their whole life, so they've been jaded.
But they're doing something else.
Oh yeah, one is
doing their own thing.
One is a massage therapist, and one is a certified dental assistant. So they're just great guys.
They love what they do.
They love what they do.
That's beautiful.
When it comes to entertainment, my greatest achievement is being in this industry over 30 years and maintaining my integrity, resisting peer pressure, temptations, and not realizing at the time, but now realizing what a light that's been for other people around.
What you chose was the right place.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because you do these things in my early years. You know, you tend to think that they're looking just like, he's a square, he's this. But then years go by and these guys come back and tell you, man, I so admire, you know, what you've done. And I stopped doing this because I saw how you handled business.
You did it and how you, I've taken an example out of your book, put it into my book, and I've achieved what you've achieved and done it well. And sometimes we like to copy other people and we think, they're great and they're wonderful, but you know, sometimes they fall through the cracks, and they're not so. Also being your own human being and knowing also right from wrong. How can anybody get in touch with you to get this beautiful voice and to understand what this whole thing is all about?
What this is all about and how you can get in touch with me is that I've been from Los Angeles, moved to Las Vegas about 9 years ago, and I decided to just relax and chill out. Now I have a number of private students that I teach here in Vegas. Love working with them, loving their appreciation, and I decided now to make it more known. I want people to know that I'm here, young singers, whatever age. If you're a singer, you want to.
Well, you're on the right show.
There you go. So I want them to know I'm here. I'm not arrogant, but I consider myself one of the best anointed teachers in this game that you can get as far as singing.
The reason why he says that is because it's true, because he always has verification of it all. He knows from all the different people he's taught and what he's done, and he's always stayed in that alignment of doing it right, no cheating, no lying.
Absolutely.
and trusting yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's been your main thing, Romeo, trusting yourself.
Trusting God and trusting myself.
Yes, trusting God, because God's in you.
Absolutely.
He's part of you. He does.
Absolutely.
He knows what's going to go yes on. You know what you're going to do.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So you can reach me at www.romeojohnson.com or Romeo Johnson Booking at gmail.com. You know, the number is 818-744-4157. But I have a great new team now with the LaGuardia team that's going to be helping me do a lot of things. So,
yes.
you know,
LaGuardia is absolutely amazing. They're on our side too.
Of course,
they're also part of our team.
Yeah,
we're all kind of sort of mixed in together, which is absolutely amazing. I've known Leslie LaGuardia for many, many years, and she's an incredible woman because a lot of people don't do what they say. They say what they do.
I love it. Yeah. Well, if you guys know Lisa, then you know how to contact me.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Romeo.
Thank you so much.
He's been an inspiration to any generation, but of course, you know, I love the younger generations. I can't help that. I had a show for 16 years, Voices of Tomorrow, for the younger generation.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and I taught them, and that's where all those awards come from.
I saw that. It's beautiful. Because
he went into my office and went,
I loved it. I loved it.
I've done. That's my acknowledgement of what I've done. Thank you for watching Vegas Live with Ninon. If you want to be on the show, don't forget to get in touch with social media shows, Maria Pureza, and we'll have you on and you can explain what you do, how you do it, and where you do it. And of course, Vegas Live with Ninon is always out there to help our younger generation, of course, and the entertainment world, but any world out there we can help you with. We'll be right back with our next guest. Take care.